My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh. My life be like, yeah, ooh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Irrelevant Life. I'm your host, Ella Dodona, and today I'm joined with my roommate and one of my best friends, Cassidy Lombardo.
Hi.
So, Cassidy and I actually met sophomore year, which is when a lot of my roommate drama was ensuing. Cassidy had dealt with a similar situation the semester before, and then I knew her boyfriend, and he was like, "Oh, my girlfriend's in your sorority. You guys should hang out." And this was in a time where I really needed a friend, and we've been best friends since.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we became friends, which is so on point for today because I want to talk about roommates. So we both had really interesting situations, obviously, our sophomore year, and now we're roommates together. So we'll start light with what roommate things we deal with on a day-to-day basis. I think that this year has been my least problematic year.
Yeah. I think I could also make a good case for freshman year.
Okay.
Freshman year, I had no problems with my roommate.
Actually, honestly, same.
Yeah. An though we were in a 2x2 shoebox.
Yeah, same. Were you in a trip? No, you were in a double.
I was in a double, and it was originally an RA's room.
So it's really a single.
It was meant for one person.
Right.
My fridge did not open all the way.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, we were in I was in a triple in the tallest building across the street from campus, and I was originally double designated actually, and I switched to be triple because I wanted to room with the girl I roomed with freshman year. And then we ended up rooming with her friend from high school, and I ended up getting really close with the friend of the original roommate, way closer than I was with the original roommate. And my original roommate was really messy. But other than the messiness, it was totally a fine situation. I liked freshman year. And sophomore year is where you're it hit the fan.
Sophomore year was good times.
Yeah, it really was an interesting situation. But mostly because I think that one thing that they don't really tell you when you go into college is your roommate situation. Freshman year you start and you meet your did you know your roommate before?
No, we found each other on the Facebook page.
Okay, same.
And I came up to meet her during her orientation because I only live 45 minutes away from here.
Got it.
So we went to JP's diner.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of the exact same. I met my roommate on the Facebook group, which you join when you're incoming class.
Mm-hmm.
There's an incoming class group for every grade. And I literally made a Facebook for it.
I did too.
I didn't have a Facebook before that. I made it because of the group. And then I met her. And then for orientation, I went to her house, slept over the day before, and then we went to orientation together.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
That's risky.
But that was risky.
You could have got axe murdered. You don't know them.
No, literally. And I I don't know. We would text a lot. I would text her about my life and my friends at school. I was trying to be super social. I'm a really social person, but not as much anymore. I think the way that I was freshman year, I was so outgoing, ready to meet new people, excited to meet new people. After the sophomore year debacle, I was not ready to make new friends. We became friends because of the situation, but I was not ready to make any other new friends. No.
Our friendship really started going to the gym.
Yeah, which is crazy.
We were on the gym grinds.
That's crazy. Anybody listening who knows us is that is so funny because these two have not been to a gym since, probably.
Literally.
But no, we did the Zumba thing for a while. I was telling the pod about the Zumba thing.
Yeah.
We quit the Zumba thing.
Yeah, we did. Today we should have been in Zumba, but we're here.
Literally. But there's not as much drama as sophomore year. You're kind of getting comfortable with your friend groups, so everyone it's almost they get a little too comfortable. You're not only friends with them, but you're living with them. And if things go wrong, it's not just you can escape and go home. They're your roommate.
Yeah, it's also hard because I feel you meet people freshman year when you come in.
Right.
Then you're all good. And then halfway through the year, you meet new people.
Right.
And then you're oh. I like some of these people better than the first people I met.
Yeah, because you become friends with people out of convenience at first.
Because I loved my freshman year roommate. We were doing great. Everything was all good. I met this other group of freshmen that I hung out with a lot in Merton. I went out with them a lot. did all these fun things with them or whatever.
Right.
And then I decided to live with them. They asked me to live with them for sophomore year. So I was like, well, I guess, since nobody else has asked me.
Right.
I was like, I might as well say yes to them. They had a good lottery number. Homegirl had like lottery number 8. Like,
nice.
It was, yeah. So the 2 other people I was supposed to live with didn't come back.
Right.
From like where they lived during COVID. So I ended up getting 2 random roommates.
Oh, and that's who we live with. One of them now.
Yes.
And then the other one was a year older.
Shout out Cindy, love you. Miss you, girl. Mine was best case scenario.
Yeah.
I got to live with normal random people.
Yeah. So like that's actually a good point, because freshman year I like made my friends, in like similar to you. I like had my roommates, and then as the year, actually it was probably like the second day of school that I met all the other girls, but we met another group of girls that lived 2 floors above us, and so we kind of hung out, the 6 of us, and then we kind of added as like the year went on, like that we added, there was another girl who like was in dance with them, and then another girl who was in dance with them. A lot of them were all of them were dancers except for me and one other girl. So like it was really friends by convenience. They all had danced together, they all had lived in my building. Mm-hmm. So I had like different groups, but I really had this one big group of girls. So we were like, let's take the biggest dorm. Let's all live together.
12 people.
12 people.
Nothing can go wrong.
It just can't go down from here. It can't. So we were like, you know what? We'll live all of us, because no one wanted to split up. We didn't want to do with the logistics. I had the lowest lottery number.
Oh, you were lit.
I should have taken the upper quad and taken a few girls with me. When you go in with all 12 people, the room for disaster increases 50%. Like, it really does. Yeah. And because one thing I think girls do is really gang up on each other.
I think there's always like the one person that, even if they're not really causing like big issues, like they're the
target.
Yeah.
And that is so real, because, and like when we were, especially my sophomore year dorm, like every month it was a different person was the target. Like you never knew when you were going to be next, basically. And like that's one of the things with like living with girls. I think like you just kind of have to deal with it a little bit, because unless you're like really close friends, like I feel like if we had an issue, I would like sit down and be like, we got to cut the shit.
Well, yeah, you are. I live in the living room, actually.
Cassidy's the only one on the first floor.
I was like, your shoe closet's in the hallway. You leave all your stuff on the couch. Your whole closet's out here.
Yeah, I'm very straightforward.
Yeah.
Some people think it's bitchy.
But like it's okay. It's like
But we're close enough. You know I'm not being a bitch. That's the thing. Like even freshman year, I like had my roommate, and the one girl was really messy.
Yeah.
And me and the friend, I don't want to like name anybody.
Yeah.
Me and the friend were like really close, and we were like, it's so annoying. Like her closet is like spilling out into, because the way our room was like shoebox. So if one person was messy, the whole room is now messy. And like that's really something that like I think sophomore year was better for us, because I didn't live directly with this person anymore, and I had no issues with her because she wasn't messy in my space. I just like my space to be clean, or like the common spaces. If you're messy in your room, I don't give a crap. So it was annoying because we didn't have, like, it was my room too. So I one day said to her, you gotta clean, like it's disgusting, like fix it. And I didn't say it like that, but I said it in like a really nice, I was like, listen, like you gotta like clean up your clothes a little bit, because like we all share the space and it's starting to get really annoying. And I think she thought I hated her. Like, and that was so not what I meant. Like I really just like wanted her to clean her space. And I'm very confrontational. Like if there's an issue, I'm saying it. And I think people take that as like, whoa, like this girl hates me. Yeah. But I'm just saying what's on my mind, you know?
It's like intriguing to see who's really messy, because when I have my own room, I feel like I'm a little messy. When I'm living with somebody else, though, I'm clean.
Mood, I feel that.
I feel like it held me accountable. So it's kind of crazy to like see your roommate situation and like how messy it was, because I'm like, I'm living with other people. Like,
right.
My side's looking nice.
Like I'm I like learned this as a child. Like I would go to sleepovers and my stuff would I'd pick a corner. That's where all my stuff would be. I don't want to lose any of my stuff, so I would be really clean. Because, like, in my room upstairs, like, it's a movie up there. But, like, in our space, I'm very clean. And I also, like, really care about the kitchen.
Yeah.
We can talk about the kitchen.
We can talk about the toaster.
The toaster? Oh, my God. One night, Cassie and I, We were like out and we came back and we were like drinking and the kitchen was disastrous. Like it looked so bad. And we both cook. Like we all cook. Our whole house cooks. But I wasn't really using the toaster that much because I think the toaster's gross. So I stopped using it. There was like a point in time where I was like, I can't do the crumbs.
Yeah.
No one was cleaning like the crumb trays and like the top of it was all crummy. And I was like, I don't want to contribute to the mess because I don't want to have to clean this every time I use it because I'm like very weird about the stuff in the kitchen. So I, drunk, took the toaster, turned it upside down, and an entire piece of toast fell out.
A whole piece.
An entire piece of burnt toast fell out of the toaster, and I was like, this is why we don't use this toaster.
We couldn't keep it together. We were the only ones home. Like, we were having a field day.
We were laughing so hard. I think I was like literally in tears. Like, it was so funny. Then we like vacuumed the floor, obviously.
Then we cleaned the kitchen.
And then I was like, I'm gonna have to vacuum the floor anyway. Dump toast. So sometimes you just gotta keep your space clean.
Yeah.
But like also with the roommates, it's like it's really hard to live with your friends because no one prepares you for that. I guess like you're used to living with your family. Like your family has a habit. You have a certain way of doing things. And like when you're frustrated with your family members or you need space alone, you go to your room.
Yeah.
Unless you like live with a sibling. Like I've never lived in the same room as a sibling, so I can't really speak on that behalf. But like if I'm like frustrated with my mom or my stepdad or my dad or my sister or my brother or whatever, I go to my room, close the door. I have my space.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about freshman sophomore year was like I lived with a roommate both of those years. Sophomore year I could have been in a single, but I chose not to. And I feel like it's hard. Like you're having a bad day, you want to cry. It's basically like you're regulating your emotions. Like you're like, oh, something bad's happening. Like I have to wait till my roommate leaves to like schedule crying time.
No, literally, that's so accurate. Especially like because freshman year, a lot of the time you're just like kind of like you're homesick. So like a lot of the crying freshman year was like homesickness. I don't think I ever like was sad about my friend group. Everyone's very like nice at first.
Not me. I wasn't homesick.
I mean, I was only homesick. Like, to be real, I cried when my parents left after moving, and I don't think I cried about missing home ever again. I cried about missing my freshman year boyfriend.
Okay, that's fair.
Freshman year, I wasn't really like sad that much, but sophomore year, I was crying all the time. So that was like, and I gave up on crying alone. I would cry in my room. I would cry myself to sleep, and my roommate would like just
Did your roommate like leave?
No. I honestly, God bless her, because she used to say to me, like, I feel so bad for you when we're falling asleep and I can hear you, like, sobbing in the corner. I was like, oh gosh. Everyone's so nice freshman year. You, like, come in and everyone's, like, very, like, friendly. No one wants to, like, step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, and it's like that for the whole year. You'd think it's only like that for the first semester. I'm sure there's drama with some freshman groups, but like my friends, like no one showed their true colors until sophomore year, really. And then like sophomore year, you move in, and like any minor inconvenience, you're living with these people. Like if someone's bothering you and annoying you, the only space you have for them is to like be on campus.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're like in your living room.
I know. I like lived at Holly Lounge when I was on campus.
Right, because like
after class I'd be like, Holly Lounge, AirPods, let's just
do work, stay away. Yeah, I definitely like, because freshman year you like want to be on campus, but you're on campus with like all your friends. And sophomore year it was like I was on campus to avoid my friends. I had a very specific situation. I had my freshman year boyfriend I was just telling you about broke up with me in October of my sophomore year, and this was like life-shattering stuff for me, like, which is crazy, but like really was tripping over, like I really didn't need to be reacting the way I was, but it was like mental breakdown moment. This is what started like my mental health like journey. So I'm like thankful for this whole experience now, and like I started therapy because of all of this, and like it really helped. Honestly, starting therapy when I did was really good, because then it just got worse for me. So then it gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And I like would cry all the time. I would cry in class. I literally cried in class, Cassidy. So it's really hard to regulate your emotions. And that was like the first time I had to like compartmentalize and learn that like you can't just break down in the middle of class
Yeah.
all the time. And I would cry myself to sleep. And my poor roommate was like, I feel so bad for you, but I don't want to like say anything. So I just pretend I'm not here.
Yeah.
I was like, so all of winter break, I was going crazy. And then I continued my craziness into the semester and lost a lot of friends. And like that was the point where I was like, thank God I started therapy. I started therapy in January.
Mhm.
And it really helped because then when all the roommate problems started, I had already known my therapist a little bit because she was helping me through the breakup and like all that. And so then I was able to kind of, I don't know, like work out the roommate situation. And I felt so alone. Like if you're having roommate problems and it's everyone versus you, it was like 11 girls versus me.
Yeah.
Like I was literally on my own. And then I got to meet Cassidy and like we would hang out a lot, but it got better. Like I made new friends. Now I have all new friends and I love my friend group. Everything is fine and dandy. So like you can get through it. And sometimes like roommate situations feel like it's the end of the world. It feels like everything's caving in, but like you get past it.
No, looking back, I do look back at it and I was like, damn, I was really like dramatic though. Like I thought it was the end of the world because like
It's hard not to.
those were people I knew for like 2 years. Some of the people I knew in high school, like
Right.
I knew them for multiple years, and it was just like a whole thing. I was like, I have no friends. Like
Right.
bad. Luckily, I had Shoddy, my boyfriend,
Right.
and Cindy, my roommate. They were very helpful through that whole process. But like still like, even though you have like a support system, they're not going through the same thing that you
Right.
are.
And you still feel alone. Like I had people that I was talking to my friends from home a lot, but I wasn't telling them every single thing day to day.
Mhm.
I kept a lot of it to myself. Like everyone acted like things were fine in the suite, but I knew it wasn't, and I could see like little instances where like I was being left out of stuff,
Mhm.
or like I could tell they were talking about me when I walked into a room, and so then it pushed me further and further into my like isolation.
Mhm. And I think COVID also was like a big part of that. Like, there's always the one roommate, like you said, like it was taking turns, like every week, every month, like somebody was
Someone's to
disliked.
blame. Yeah.
Someone to blame in the suite. Like, I feel like freshman year you're tiptoeing, but you're really tiptoeing around people when you're trying to find a house off campus in Bridgeport and you have to sign a lease with these people.
Yes, that's where shit hits the fan.
Yes. So like anything you do, anything that they're like, oh, like they're like, we shouldn't live with this person, like red flag.
Right.
It's also like in a big group you want to kind of people please. Not gonna lie, like
Agreed. I totally was people pleasing.
like people would tiptoe and like blame other people so it wasn't them being left out basically.
Right.
Like they wanted to be the ones included in everything and they needed a scapegoat.
Right. Which was you.
Which was me.
Everyone actually bonded over how much they hated me. It was crazy. They're mad close now. But like that's how girls kind of are.
It was difficult because I was the only one in upper quad. Everybody else was in a
Lived
different
together.
dorm. Yeah, they all lived together. So like most of the time I didn't really know what was going on, which I also think was like easy to just like scoop me on out.
Just push her out the door.
It was just easier, like, because I didn't really, during COVID, I couldn't see them a lot.
Right.
They wouldn't want to see me, so to say, because, like, they didn't want to break rules. But
Right.
then, like, they broke rules, so it
didn't make sense.
The pieces weren't getting put together.
The math wasn't mathing.
The math wasn't mathing. Yeah, so it was hard being, like, away from the whole group, which also did not help my mental health during the year before, like,
Right.
shit hit the fan.
Because you're in a situation where like all your friends live together, so you're already feeling isolated.
Yeah.
And then they are figuring out their lease. They like the people they live with. I think really what happened, this is what, like from an outside perspective, is that these girls that Cassie was supposed to live with, they met new people when they lived in their new dorm, and they liked the new people more.
Yeah.
So they just were like, we'll just bully Cassidy out of the house
Word.
and fill her spot with new people.
But now they are not friends with those friends, so
Karma comes back around.
yeah. Since freshman year, like, I like to say I'm a people pleaser,
I was.
but at the same time, like, I usually made it, I wouldn't hang out with people I didn't like.
You kind of grow out of that. I think freshman year, everyone's like, you're a people pleaser. You're like, everyone needs to be happy. Like, I'm a very much leader person. Like, I used to be bossy AF. I'm still a little bossy, but like, I used to be really bossy as a child. But it was like, once you lose control, then it all flips on you. It was kind of what happened to me. And so then I had like a lot of anxiety around control. Like, and all that spanned from the situation I had, like, I got broken up with, so that was out of my control. And I had the group kind of, like, supporting me. Like, I was making a lot of decisions for the group. I didn't have any beef with anybody. I was never the target. And then that went 360, so I lost control of everything.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of anxiety for me. So, yeah, not to make this sound, like, horrible. I feel
It's not that bad. You meet the people that you're, like, meant to find.
Right, and I think if I didn't go through all that, like, trauma, I wouldn't be where I am today, and, like, I'm no longer really a people pleaser. I'm back to kind of being, like, if I don't wanna do that, I'm not doing that.
Like, if everyone wants to go out, and I don't, like, I'm staying in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think you are, like, not a people pleaser at all anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I feel like that's something I struggled with a lot, was like I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And then even when everyone was telling me I was wrong, I knew I was wrong, and then it was like I hated myself for it so much because there was nothing I could do to make everyone like me again. And then, like, after working with the sorority and stuff, I realized not everyone's gonna like you no matter what you do. And when I became president, I had like a moment of like imposter syndrome where it was like I'm not the person they elected.
Yeah.
Because I was going through so much stuff when they elected me that I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And then I just started being myself and everything was fine.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of, like, therapy and stuff brought me back to being who I was before all the drama. But I also, like, lost that people-pleasing person that I was for all those years because it was like, really? Like, what's the worst that happens? I lose all my friends and I have nobody to talk to because that's already happened.
Yeah.
Like... And thank God, like, I had my little at the time. We had gotten littles.
Yeah.
Or you had gotten a big.
I had gotten a big.
And I had a big, too, but my big was, like, living off campus, so it was not as easy to, like, meet up. So I had my big, I had my little, and that was really helpful. I had the sorority, which I was, like, working with and, like, doing all my meetings, and that kept me, like, I had to compartmentalize and, like, had to deal with my mental health because then I had to, like, sit down and do important meetings, and I couldn't let it, like, affect me.
Yeah.
And then I also had, like, friends that I had met freshman year or hadn't really talked to in a while because I was with this group all the time that I could spend more time with. And it ended up, like, being really good for me, this whole dilemma. So, you know.
Yeah, true. I know, I think 80 Pie, like, saved me, low-key. Shout out, Boom Boom.
Shout out, Boom Boom.
And, like, college is so big. Like, we have a small school.
Right.
But, like, it's big, where, like,
yeah.
I don't know, like, half the people in our grade.
No.
I don't know anybody. But it's, like, easy to meet new people.
Yeah, and I think, like, even when you think that, like, your friend group is the only people you think it's the end of the world if there's drama with your friend group.
Yeah.
But, like,
it's not.
It's not. There's so many more, like, people out there, and, like, I wouldn't have met Cassidy if it weren't for, like, all that. Or I probably would have met you, but, like, we wouldn't have gotten as close if I wasn't, like, I want to go out and be, like, anywhere but the suite right now.
Yeah.
Like we said, we went to the gym together.
We were, like, just starting out friends, and that's, like, how we would, like, communicate. I'd be like, hey, like, I'm gonna go to this class. Like, do you want to go with me?
That's how me and Cassidy met, and that's, like, why I wanted to talk about it today because, like, Irrelevant is really focused on mental health this month. And so that's kind of just how, like, we started our mental health journeys and, like, dealt with our roommate issues. Like, we made it out alive.
Yeah.
So
we made it, boys.
So we're good. But yeah, so just know that, like, you're not alone. We've been there, and now I've made a friend because of it. Like, we're all happy because of it. And so sometimes when you feel like the world is caving in and you feel like you're never going to get past it, just know that there's, like, a bright light at the end of the tunnel and it's coming. It's just, maybe you need to, like, talk to a therapist about it for a little bit and you'll be fine.
Yeah, just put yourself out there, you know, do things that maybe you wouldn't have before, meet people.
Right, totally. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, Cassidy, for joining me.
Thanks for having me on the
and
pod.
Chatting with me all about our crazy roommate stories. And thank you, everybody else, for tuning in to this episode of My Irrelevant Life. See you guys on the next one. Try not to miss me too much. Bye.
Ooh. My life be like.